Okay, hey Josh, thanks for getting these in. So it looks like you worked pretty hard on this. And great first shot with your lights. Really great first shoot, rather. Really nice job. And thank you so much for being experimental and trying out a few different things. And you did. This is great. The lighting is very different. Your person is the same, the background is the same, but the lighting very much changes the mood of the image. So great, you fulfilled the requirements, the basic requirements of the assignment. Very good. And then these equipment shots are fantastic. And this is a really nice space to shoot in. And when you move into studio photography, this is going to be a great space. You're just going to want to cover up these lights, or these windows, rather, a little bit better. Do a heavier window covering so that you don't have any light leaks. But this is going to be fantastic for you. Great equipment shots, great meter shot, perfect. So let's talk about your final shots. Oh wait, one thing. When you submit your contact sheets, you said that you had a little bit of a difference between the color range, or the color saturation rather, from in Lightroom it looked fine to you, and then when it exported to PDF it was a bit saturated. One of the reasons that this might happen is because you're using a different color space in Lightroom than you are in PDF or in your Adobe Acrobat. So just check your preferences and make sure that your color space matches. Typically we use I think they typically default to some version of Roy G. Biv, but you just want to make sure in your preferences that you're using the same color space. That's the place to start for trying to figure out why they might look different. Also, with your contact sheets, please do not forget to label each image in your contact sheet with your exposure settings. Best case scenario, you give us all three exposure settings, shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, and the millimeter focal length lens that you're using. Now, I know that's a lot, and it doesn't always fit real well, so prioritize shutter speed and aperture, but if you can fit ISO and your focal length, great. And your contact sheets, other than that, look great. They're nice and big. We can look at them. Great compositions. Is she doing all this posing all on her own, or are you helping her pose? Because if you're doing this, if you're getting her to do all these different, very interesting movements, get in here and tell us how you did that, because it's different. That takes a lot of finesse. And if she's doing it all on her own, you go back and thank her. She did a great job for you. It's difficult to not look like a stiff, right, when you're the model. Okay, so here you are doing probably pretty even lighting, it looks like, and then here you've got a key light, camera right, and then fill on camera left. And from your equipment shots, it looks to me like you're always using. Nope, you're not. You have two lights going on, but you are using some passive fill with this reflector. And that reflector this far away from your subject isn't going to do very much. You'd have to move this reflector, much, much closer. You'd keep it out of frame, of course, but move it much, much closer. Okay. So my only I think your compositions are great. I think the use of your light's great. Your exposures look fine. This one's a lot darker, but that kind of adds to the mood. I think in your contact sheets, the exposures look fine. My only suggestion would be this. And it doesn't even matter too much in these images, but in the future it might. It's always a good idea to move your subject several feet away. Let me find those equipment shots, sorry. Several feet away from your background. The reason being is that way you have a lot more creative control. You can light your background independently of your subject. You can use gobos and make some crazy shapes on the background, and it's not going to do anything to your subject. You can make a gradient, you can make it dark, you can make it bright, you can do whatever you want, and it's not going to affect your subject. Secondly, that way you can use one of your wider apertures and get your background out of the depth of field, so it's no longer in fine focus. So if there's anything at all distracting going on in your background, consider, like if you were using cloth, like a cloth backdrop, and there was like wrinkles or some kind of topography, it would be so out of focus we wouldn't see it, it wouldn't matter. And if you're using paper, same sort of thing. If there's some kind of little goof on the paper, it would be out of focus and we wouldn't even see it. Now in your final images, it doesn't seem to be an issue at all. Let's see, I don't know. Maybe if I enlarge them I would see. I guess I can kind of see the texture of the wall here, but I don't find that distracting too much. Here, a little bit more. I find the texture of the wall a little bit more distracting, but not enough to pick it apart. But just as saying in the future, consider keeping more space between your subject and your background. And you've got plenty of space here. Blah, blah. You've got plenty of space here in this room, so you'll be able to do that. But yeah, great job. Great first attempt with your lights. Just remember next time when you submit your contact sheets, please give us your exposure settings for each image. It'll help me give you more technical feedback. Okay, thanks Josh, great work.